Hey everybody, it's Lisa from Shabby Road Studio. Welcome back to my channel. Today's an upcycling video. And as you can see, it's all about the camo. I have these several, well, I have a lot of camo jackets, a few pairs of pants that I got at an estate sale. And I want to do something with them because I really like camo. I know that camo can be quite popular. Um, But today I wanted to try to turn this jacket into a long trench coat. So I have a jacket and then I have a pair of pants. We're going to utilize these pants somehow to make this jacket a long trench coat. And I have this other jacket that is just brown. I want to try to maybe incorporate this somewhere in the mix. I don't know yet where. Maybe it'll just be the cuffs. That would be fun. The collar, who knows, but I want to incorporate this somewhere. So I'm going to put that to the side for right now and bring back the main character, which is the jacket. It's kind of a small jacket. Unfortunately, I wish it was a larger jacket. The tag is so faded and worn, I don't even know at this point. So it'll be a smaller jacket for someone. Definitely not going to fit me. But anyways, so I want to take this pair of pants and I think what I'm going to do is just rip the seam all the way around. I don't know if I'll rip that. It's a lot of ripping. We'll see. I'm going to sit down and see how it goes, but if it doesn't come out easily, I'm going to cut it. And I'm sorry to all those who like to give me hints and tips about how I should be using seam rippers and not cutting. This is my show. So if I want to, yes, I'm in one of those moods. If I want to cut this, I will try to do it with the seam ripper, but if it's not going to be quick and easy, I'm not going to do it because we're all about, we got to get a video out. So let's see. So I'm going to go do that and then I'll be back and let you see what we're at. Okay, I am back. No. The seam ripping didn't happen. It's just as well because I cut those big heavy seams out anyways, so just as well to not waste precious time seam ripping. So I have these pants kind of dissected at this point, just kind of laying them out to show you. So basically I just went up the inseam and up the side seams and did a little bit of ironing to kind of iron these flaps down. Still not the best, but they were out of control. They just don't, these cargo type pant or pockets just don't want to lay right. So I think I'm going to take the first chunk of fabric for our trench coat is going to be, come on, cooperate here. It's going to be right under these seams here, straight across. So that'll give us these bigger chunks here at the bottom of the legs. So here is my ruler. Try to use my rotary cutter. We have that piece. You can go. And so this part to the bottom of our jacket, or we can flip this around and use this and sew this on and have these be the part of the bottom. Here is our jacket. I think I would like to go up a bit on the side seams and maybe put some kind of a triangle to open this up a bit. It is a very small jacket, and I think maybe doing that would add a, make it more comfortable. So I think we're going to do that. I think we're just going to cut right up the side of this seam, and we're going to go up to just about an inch from this top. And then we'll take the other side and do the same. I just find that this ends up being a good way to expand something that may otherwise be a tad bit tight. So then the question becomes, what are we going to put in that triangle? Because I don't know how much of this pair of pants is tricky, because you got these weird, you got the pockets and you got these weird curves. So there's not a huge piece here that would be usable. I'm going to say we're probably not going to use the pants at this point. We could find another fabric, or we could possibly go with pieces of this jacket. Maybe that's where we'll start, but this jacket is kind of stretchy. So yeah, I don't think there's going to be two good sections here for both of those sides. So I don't think we're going to go with this jacket for this part. I think we're going to utilize part of that jacket, but for now, let's put our pieces here that we want to use for the bottom over to the side. And I'm going to take a quick look through my fabric to see what else would possibly match up well with this camo, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I looked in my stash and I found this piece of fabric. Hopefully you can see it. It is just this scrap that was in there, and it's perfect because look, if you fold it, pretty much got two triangles right here. It looks like a super big sleeve or something. I don't know. Anyways, this is, I think, gonna match well. It's got a cream, like a cream or taupe background, and then just like these fall muted colors, mustard, some greens. So I think that'll work well for the inserts on the sides of this jacket. I love it, actually. I think it's great. So I'm going to split this in two just to make it handle easier. And I'm going to cut this in half. About to give up when this was peeping out of the shelf, and I thought, wait a minute, that would work, definitely. Okay, so we're going to do the usual thing that I always do when I do this, and that is I'm going to open this up. And we're going to insert this fabric up underneath. So it's not super wide. We're not going to add like, a big amount, but I think it'll be a perfect amount just to open up this jacket a bit. I think that'll work. I am going to start pinning this on. Actually, what I'm going to do, which I just thought of pinning this on, since we're adding to the bottom of this jacket anyways, it has the hem, and I'm thinking that possibly just cutting that hem off will make it easier, especially right here, to sew this and then sew something across. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to finish pinning this and then cut that off. Then I'll go sew this on, and I'll be back to show you. Okay, I am back from sewing in both of the triangles. So what I did not end up cutting the hem off. I decided, what the heck, why wouldn't I just seam rip that? Those are ones I like to seam rip because I like the way they end up looking afterwards. Now this needs to be ironed, but I'm just trying to give you an idea of what it looks like. And it gave us, couple, a little over an inch, maybe 2 inches more length here. So there is our triangle sewn in there. And here's our triangle sewn in there. I think they look really cute with the camo. So now I'm going to throw this on the mannequin and kind of audition these pieces on the bottom to see how they would fit best. It's not going to be enough to go all the way around, but we're going to start with these. These are going to be what we use first. Okay, we've got those first pieces sewn on. So ended up taking here, so that would flare out a little bit. And so that's as far as those pieces go. So same on the other side, obviously. That's as far as they go. So we have this big gap. We have the gap from here all the way to here to fill in. And so I had to go and grab another of my camouflage jackets to use because there's no way I had enough with that other one. So I have this jacket I brought in, and I'm just going to go. So it's not going to be long enough like this way. But if I make it long enough, we're going to go up into, we're going to run into this top. And I guess I could go around and try to undo this pocket, but I just don't. And then you got the arm. Yeah, you'd really only be able to go up to about there. So I think we're going to see how it goes with just cutting this off right underneath the pocket all the way across the bottom of this jacket. And then it'll go, hopefully you can see this, go across and run right under this pocket. So then we'll use this part on the bottom just as we can to fill that hole. And we'll just have to keep utilizing what we have to make it work. It's just a little bit of finagling here and there. I'm probably going to rip out the hem on the bottom, so that'll be fun. And yeah, we'll just go from there. I'm going to go do that, and then I'm going to cut this off, get this placed onto the back here, and we'll start in the middle. We'll take the middle of this jacket, we'll start in the middle, and we'll go that, each way. And then what we have left will be, if there's any space to fill, it'll be between that gap and where the other piece starts, if that makes sense. I hope it does. This is going to be cute. Can't wait to get it done. And so I'm going to go start with ripping out the hem on this one and then cutting it. So I'll be back. Okay, so I have ripped out the hem on the bottom. I've ironed that so it lays flatter, and then I cut this off from the jacket. So we have this long piece with a natural curve that's going to go around the bottom of our trench coat. Let's see if it's going to be enough. Oh, actually, great. That's perfect. It is more than enough. That means a couple of things. I don't want to cut into these pockets to cut off the extra. So the most logical place to cut is in the middle of this, where there's nothing. So we have to, it's really hard because this coat is so big and it's hard for you to be able to see it all. And I want you to see what I'm doing, but sometimes it can be difficult. Yeah. Easy enough. So let me come back to you when I'm done fixing this onto the bottom of our jacket. Okay, so I wanted to come back and show you before I sew this on. I ended up cutting the sides off from this. It was just to try to add that on in one piece wasn't going to work. So I piece right back here. So I'm going to just go over the top a little bit and then start pinning this on. And then when I sew this on, then we'll work out how to fill in those other gaps, because it's just with the curvature, it just doesn't match up properly and it wouldn't work. So putting it on in sections like this is really the only way, and it's fine because then you can have a little bit more control over what you're doing. And I will go sew this piece on, and then we'll work on filling in the rest of the gaps. Okay, so I have this part sewn on. Looks good, looks real good. So now let's move to the area that is still open. Here's our opening, kind of like sort of a triangle with a flat top on it. I think I'm going to take the rest of this jacket that we just cut the bottom off. I'm going to cut off the sleeves and open the sleeve up for that triangle area. That'll be the best bet. I was going to use the sleeves, but the sleeves when opened up are wonky, like they're rounded here, so not like a regular sleeve. So when you open it up flat, it just wasn't, there was this bunching of fabric. So I couldn't use this, long story short, I couldn't use it. So I ended up using the front part. I cut a piece out of the front and did what I do. I sewed this on. This one, yeah, this one I went underneath. Just because this one was an awkward shape and I wasn't going to be able to see where I was going if I had it on top. I wanted to make sure I was hitting both pieces of fabric. So I put it underneath to make sure everything was covered, and I sewed that on. This other one is different. It's just in the shape of the front of the jacket, and I sewed that on the top. So everything is sewn on. We've got all of our edges accounted for now. Okay, I am back next morning. Had a nice sleep. Okay, we're starting to work on the coat again, the jacket, and I've got one of the cargo pockets here, and then I have one pinned over here, a nice big one on this side. So I'm going to go sew those on, and then we'll come back and figure out what else we can add to this cool jacket. Okay, guys, we got these two big pockets sewn on. They're so cool. It's just so funky the way they look, and it's just, I don't know, I really love this jacket. I did just try it on. It does actually fit me, probably since I added those inserts. But yeah, and here's the other pocket. So I have this, we have this open area in the back. So I thought we would throw on this little piece from the back of the pants. It's one of those pockets that has the buttons and then the flap that comes over, and this is obviously the waistband. And then I had to cut the pocket because it was too long, so that'll just be sewn shut down there. But I thought that would be fun on the back here somewhere. So I'm gonna go sew this little dude on, and then I'll be back. Okay, so what I decided when I got over there was to actually, because this is the top of the waistband, I actually decided to leave this whole thing as a pocket, and then this is like a pocket. So there's actually two pockets here. It's on the back, I know, but it's just kind of cool. So this opens as a pocket, and then under here is a shorter pocket. So that's kind of fun. So I just cut out a couple little patch thingies from the fabric that we did the triangle from, and I'm going to just stick these on here somewhere. And then I think, just for funsies, I'm going to sew this extra little strap thing up around the arm. And then, so I had this big tablecloth, and it has this fringe. And I know it's not the exact same green, but I thought how fun it might be to add this fringe underneath the hem of this long jacket. So it would be like sewed on underneath here. Just something like that. I thought that might be fun. So I'm going to do those three things, and then I'll be back. Oh, and to tell you, I did take a scrap of a sleeve of this and tried the bleach. Full on, straight, full strength bleach, and zero, nada. So Must be these camo army clothes are made to withstand bleach. So we won't be bleaching it. So, all right, I'm going to go do those last few things, and then we'll call this project complete. I'm back. I sewed this patch here, and then I sewed one over here, and then I went ahead with the fringe on the bottom. I really like the way it turned out. I think it goes well with the colors, and I think it's fun. It's just unusual and fun. So then I just sewed this little band, just, you know, just roughly around the top. It's just raggedy. It just adds another layer to this jacket. But I want to do one more thing. Since I couldn't bleach it, I want to do one more thing. What I want to do here in the corner is I want to take a stencil and some paint, acrylic paint, and we're just going to put a flower down here for fun. I'm just using a flat brush, and yeah, we're just gonna paint some of this yellow oxide, kind of like a mustard. I didn't treat this area. I didn't add any additives to the paint. I've gotten paint on clothing for years, and I was never able to wash it out on purpose, you know, when I tried. So I don't think that I have to worry about this coming out. All right. Oh, that's cool. I got a little right there and a little right there. I'm going to rub that so there. Okay, I really, really like that. I'm very happy with that. Okay, we're going to do one more flower right over here. Okay, let's take it off. Love it. Okay. I'm going to dry that with the heat gun. It sets the paint. When you use the heat gun, it sets the paint. So after that, I am going to wash this. I'm going to wash this right away. I want to see how everything behaves and to make sure everything looks fine. And then I will come back and show you this jacket, and then there'll be the usual photos and probably a video. So, all right, I will see you when this is washed. Okay, I am back after washing this. It turned out fine. I got most of the stragglers cut off the fraying. After I washed it, there was a couple areas that needed some attention, so I took care of that. One was this whole strip here, so I added a new piece on that had some practice paint, so I like that. And then let's see. Yeah, there was a piece right here that needed some attention, but each little scrap like that just adds to the quirkiness of the project, so I don't mind that at all. The edges are fraying like I like, and yeah, it's fraying here where I sewed that extra little strap on. I don't know if there's anything on the back. There's that big double pocket we put on the back, pocket here, and then under here. It's fraying around that. Looks cool. Oh, I did add this. I had practiced this little flower on a piece, and I thought, why not just cut that piece out? And I sewed that on here. So that's extra. I really love the fringe. I hope whoever gets this loves this fringe. But yeah, I think it turned out, all in all, it was a fun project, guys. Just took two army jackets. Was going to use that brown jacket, but then decided to just go all with all camo. Took a pair of camo pants, and so we got a lot of these fun pockets on here. And then used some fun and quirky contrasting fabric over here that opens up the jacket a little bit. So all in all, I really like it. So if your name is Raymond, If your last name's Raymond, or if your first name's Raymond, this would be a fun jacket for you. But yeah, so I will put pictures now and a video. Did a video of me wearing it because it ended up fitting me, probably because I opened up the sides. So now I'm going to stick this in my Etsy shop, and I hope it goes to a new happy home. All right, you guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.